Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm really excited to be here with you today because I have some amazing footage that I want to show you. Over the past 3 days, I've been capturing a few different pictures. You guys know I always like to start out with a picture of real Venus so that we can remind ourselves of what Venus looks like and where it should be in the sky. As we know, Venus is going to be out of view coming in March. It won't be coming up on the horizon anymore. This picture shows both Venus and Mars in their respective places. As we can see, there's a little bit of a difference here. This is the system that I've been referring to as NIbiru. Guys, you can call it whatever you want. I really don't know what it is. I'm just assuming it's NIbiru because that's what I've read about. Some people call it Planet X, Planet 9, Wormwood. Whatever it is, it's definitely another solar system, and it is close to Earth. Of course, this picture is a little bit closer. This picture is, to me, probably the most amazing. You can see 3 of the moons. If you look very closely, which I'm going to zoom in here for us, you can actually see 4 in the back behind the bright light. And no, these are not glares. I did change the lens, the exposure, everything, just to make sure. I changed the contrast, taking fine, sharp, soft images just to try to debunk this for us. So I do have several of these pictures. In this picture we can kind of see the little dot behind the brightness. But it does appear there's one here, obviously 2 larger ones. One up here. And if we zoom out just a little bit and go center here, there appears to be another moon or satellite here. This next image is a little bit clearer. You can see the 4th moon that's in alignment with this smaller sun. And of course this object out here, let me draw a circle for us. So we have one there, one here, one here, 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 and then there is one that's further below this outer one. That's not in alignment. This is a close-up of one of the moons, or one of the satellites. That really is the closest image I'm going to get to it. I'm going to show you guys a video next that's going to show you why that's probably the best image I can get. This video was captured on February 19th at about 11:45. So close to midnight. Venus and Mars were already out of view. And when I saw this image, I was just awestruck. I was amazed. I couldn't believe that I was actually capturing these several moons. I thought it was maybe a lens glare, anything. So I did try to do a few different lenses, like I mentioned before. But no, they really are there. And the very next day, I went out to find them again. But the moons or planets, had rotated, so they weren't in alignment like that. This video was captured the following evening, February 20th at about 11:30 p.m. And you can see the moons have rotated, or the satellites, planets, whatever, have rotated, and now they're facing a more downward direction. Finally, this is the last video I have for you. Again, it was taken February 20th. So I wanted to address 2 questions that I see a lot in the comments. The first one is flat Earth. Will you check this out? And then some people say, oh, You know, since the Earth is flat, there's not any other planets or space. My answer to that is, I checked the math, and that came up very interesting because the same math that is used to prove that the Earth is round is actually used to prove that the Earth is flat. The same exact calculations are used. They already know it works, and it is that way. It's just with flat Earth, the sun is closer and smaller, where with a round Earth, it is farther out. Either way, the math still adds up, which I found that really interesting. So you guys do have some really good points on the flat Earth theory. I'm not going to, debunk that or even attempt to debunk that. But what I am going to say is that, and I wrote this out here, that it's safe to assume that there are other bodies of worlds out there, because we have us and then the sun and the moon, but there's other stuff around that too. So believing that another planetary system could be coming close to us doesn't discredit your beliefs on if the world is flat or round. Now, to my skeptics, I've gotten a lot of comments that say, oh, tell us about your qualifications, tell us about your credentials, how can you even say this? It's all in theory. Because, even scientists will tell you there's very few laws out there, so this is just a theory. It's my theory. And it's cool to be skeptical. I wrote that there. It's definitely cool to be skeptical. Everybody should question everything, because taking anything at face value is probably the worst thing we can do. Oh, I do make mistakes, because I'm human. However, I consciously attempt to follow every lead and verify it through a credible source, and multiple sources if possible. I know a lot of people think, oh, NASA's bullshit. I don't disagree with that either. Unfortunately, NASA is one of the only places that we can use that's considered credible on a mainstream. So I try to use NASA and then other quote-unquote credible sources that are of the like. My personal qualifications would consist of extensive auditing, which I find helps in the research and information that I provide to you guys. I studied at a prestigious college where I am continuing my education. My major was in finance, economics, accounting, and business management. My minor is in mythology and living religions. To get this far in school, courses in science, basic physics, and astronomy are required. On a personal level, I have almost always owned a telescope my whole life. I was always fascinated with the stars. Back in those days, Google was not around to map the skies, so I had to pull out books and learn manually to locate objects. Looking at the stars and attempting to pinpoint something is like finding your way around a new town after you lost your cell phone. Unless you can find landmarks to help you locate the area, you may not find the object you are looking for. So guys, I'll be the first to admit, I'm definitely not an astrophysicist. I am not an astronomer. But I am sure that what I'm seeing with my eyes is definitely another system. There is a main body which has its light source, and then there are satellites that are rotating fairly close and then pretty distant from that light source. Be skeptical, believe in what you want to believe in, but know that there's always alternatives. When new information gets introduced, the idea might become valid, but it might make it void as well. So guys, I'm going to leave you with this image. What we're looking at here could be the body that caused the Great Flood in biblical times. It could be the Star of Bethlehem. It could be NIbiru. It could be Wormwood. It could be Planet X. There is another world out there. And this could be that world. We could be holding that world in our hands now. And in 20 years from now, in science books, our children's children could be learning about these worlds that we're just now discovering. So even though it's not written in history, and it's okay to be skeptical about new findings, it's really awesome to be a part of that history and watch it happen as it unfolds. Thanks for joining me again, guys. I'll see you soon, in a few days.